What's up, guys? Dark Tanner here, coming at you guys with another video. So it's been a while, just because like I've been working a normal 9 to 5 corporate job, and I just haven't had time to like really upload and really go to tournaments. Because the only time I really upload is like whenever I go undefeated for a couple weeks. That way I can kind of like show you guys a proven deck, I guess. This time it's Eldlich, but it's a little bit of like a bunch of different, I guess, engines. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you could call it a pile essentially, but it's just Eldlich with like a bunch of other stuff. I just call it B.A.Z.E, so it's like B.A.Z.E, because it's like branded Eldlich, zombies, a bunch of stuff. So yeah, so here I'll just show you guys the deck profile, and then we'll go from there. So started off just 2 Eldlich. What's it called? So this is all you need. I tried 3 just because like 60 cards, but I kept just breaking on them because like, what's it called? If you ever draw like multiples of this, you just kind of lose. But yeah, like, so 2 just kind of works out. There's no real explanation there. And then the zombie part of the deck, so it's 3 unit zombies. So I ended up playing this as just like a way to like have access to like Golden Lord at all times, but then obviously getting access to like Zombie World, and then getting access to like the Glow Bloom that gets you the Balrog, and then essentially just the Banshee. So I mean, these just kind of facilitate what the deck needs to do, which is try to get to like a big board as fast as possible, and just kind of having different things that just bait out Ash. So most of the time when you summon this, you're gonna Ash this. So that way you still have your branded fusion live. You have like everything else basically in your deck. So you have so many engines, and it's so hard for them to deal with it. Because you want to just have different engines that just take away hand traps, making obviously like their hand size less, and then you just beat them down with like this guy because they can't get rid of it every single turn. And then, so that's it for the zombie part of the deck. And then for the branded stuff, you played 1 Aliber and then 2 of the Fallen Albas. So essentially these, I tried playing 1 just because like you don't really need the other one, and you always put it back because most of the time you're sending the darks, so that you're able to put it back. But there's just so many times where I just drew it, and I just wanted to use the one in my deck. That way I still have something in my hand to like kind of either like just like as another monster, I guess. I just wanted to have 2, and then 1 Aliber because it searches out the branded features, which is probably one of the best cards in your deck. I don't want to play multiples of it because it conflicts with the adventure package, but 1 just seems to work out really good. And then obviously having access to him in the graveyard just becomes like another way to interact on your opponent's turn. And then the adventure package, the 3 Enchantress and 1 Griffin. I wanted to test out the new one, the Legal Knight, but I just didn't like. I didn't find room for him, and then I just don't want another monster that if you don't have the token, it doesn't do anything. So it makes token collector just way better against your deck than it should be. So I just didn't want to play another monster that just kind of like, it's good, but it's another win more card because your board's already strong enough as it is. And then for the spells, you have the adventure stuff, which is 3, and then 1/1. I was testing 2, but most of the time this only gets you to Enchantress if you draw it by itself, and I don't really care about having the token or this. I want the negate, which is the reason why I just ended up just sticking to 1, just because like I just didn't feel like I needed it, and then you don't want to play multiples of this. You could equip it to the traps, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just like a nice little trick, but 1's fine. And then obviously 3 of these. I saw some people playing 2, but like it's just because you can always add it back from the graveyard and it becomes a dead draw. But nah, the card's just too good. Then 3 branded fusion to go with the 3 Eldlich. So essentially these search out anything in your deck. So you could always like, if you open these 2 cards, obviously it ends up like on a huge board because this gets you to the Golden Lord, and then this one gets you to any trap you want, and then you send this for the Golden Lord, which and then gives you Banshee. Or if you already have access to Zombie World, then it gets you to the Balrog. So like it's just, I don't know, this card just, these 2 cards, if you get these off, which again is when you play the unit zombies and all the other stuff to just bait out your opponent, if you resolve these, you just auto win. This searches out anything in your deck, like it's just nuts. And then I do play 1 and 1 because a lot of the time you do have access to the Golden Lord super quickly. So most of the time when you get them on board, you can activate one of the elixirs. Well, not this one, I guess, because this one only gets you from the graveyard. But this one, you could activate it and then get your unit zombie from the deck and then get your plays going. And then this one is just for the times that you draw like the Doom King in your hand, you just want to get them out of the hand. And it's another card that you can just like send to the graveyard for the Golden Lord when you have him and just get another trap. Because a lot of the time you have so many ways to get him into the graveyard, you want things to send. So then you send this one and just have access to your traps. And then only 1 Zombie World. I know there's 1 Zombie World, 1 Banshee, but I just don't want to play multiples of this. And the times that you draw Banshee and then this, you could always activate this and have Banshee to protect this. So And then the power cards of the deck. Honestly, the reason why it's really, really good. This thing contacts into anything with Zombie World on board. But obviously, having access against Despia and everything, you just auto win those matchups. And then 3 Mystic Mine. This card right here, the card of the format, honestly, at this point. I think this card is way too strong. Like, most of the time you don't really care because you could just play under it, obviously. But yeah, so this card just, it's disgusting.
How much is this?
1 Foolish Burial, and then this becomes anything in your deck. And then 1 Called By. Just protects you from certain hand traps if you don't open, like, optimal. As far as traps, then one thing I forgot to mention is that I don't play any hand traps. I didn't want to, like, I guess, use, like, multiple hand traps and then still them making, like, a Baron or make something else, and then me just have no way to interact with them. So I just wanted to have more traps and more things that I could just set, and like cards like Super Poly and Mystic Mine to just break the board instead of, like, just, like, trying to interrupt them and then them still go off and then I have to deal with the board again, playing with only 3 or 4 cards. So I just didn't like that. So for the traps, you play the 3, obviously, Elixirs, 3 Conquistador, 2 Haquero, and then the 1. What's up, guys? So sorry about the technical difficulties. I'll just get back to where I was at. So as I was saying, it's the 3-2-1. So this card is a lot of the time the card that you just want to end up searching. What's it called? A lot of the time when you end the combo, you just want to end on this. Because a lot of the time the Eldlich engine is not really like, it is there to honestly get you to like Zombie World. And then this thing just obviously protects everything from, like, what's it called, cards like Droplets, like Dark Golem or more. If you activate this on there, you pretty much automatically win. And then, like, the reason why the deck is, like, really good in my opinion, and the thing is I ended up cutting all the hand traps from the deck just because I didn't think they were necessary, is what's it called. So there's literally, like, any board, you just break it. You have so many outs to it, and then you flip any of these cards on the way back and you just automatically win the game. What's it called? So it's 2 anti-spells, 3 there can only be 1, 3 goes in match, 3 rivalry, and 3 skill drain. So essentially all of them kind of do the, like, I don't know, I guess like lock your opponent out. So this one obviously is skill drain, you don't really have to like kind of go into it. Rivalry is pretty underwhelming in this format, but when you combine it with Zombie World, obviously it's automatic win. Goes in match especially is the most, like, I guess, like, your opponent can still get to play. But the thing is, like, so many decks nowadays with so many different kinds of attributes, so it just kind of works. And then there can only be 1, again, with Zombie World, it's pretty much game. And then only 2 anti-spell, just because, like, if you don't open this card, if you don't go first, it just kind of becomes like a weird top deck. You just don't want to draw it. It just becomes food for Golden Lord, essentially. But 2's still really good just because if you draw it, obviously. Against most decks, especially with Sky Striker winning, you kind of just win the game.
How many cards in your deck?
60 cards, guys. Men have big decks, you know.
Damn.
But alright. What's it called? As far as the extra deck, the links, you have 1 Light Charmer, 1 Dark Charmer, and they kind of get you into the Unicorn or the Access Code, pretty much. And then 1 Holly Fibrax. So this card in this deck is actually very strong. Because a lot of the time when you open Unizombie, you can just send Banshee, and if you have any other way to just get 1 more monster, you're able to go Holly Fibrax, get Glow Bloom, and this. Go into Vampire Sucker, and then you're able to summon the Doom King. So it's just like simple plays like that, but they end up winning you the game. And then obviously you can always, like, a Vampire Sucker bring something back, draw a card, and then you can always banish it with Doom King off his effect. So that's it for the links. As far as like the fusions, you have probably the most important one, but I only play 1 because a lot of the time you're sending this to get to your Golden Lord, and then obviously the 2 Mary Jade. As far as Super Poly targets, what's it called? This one you make it with Zombie World. This is what you make against Despia most of the time. You still play Starving Venom just because of the situations against like decks like Dragon Link and stuff like that, where you don't have the luxury of going into this one, so you have to make your Starving Venom. And then the Mad Lord, just because like there's all those scenarios where you have the Golden Lord on board, and if they have any level 8 or whatever, any high level monster, when you have Zombie World on board, you can just make this guy, and this guy becomes like actually really hard to out. And that's it for the extra deck. The side deck just kind of like It's just kind of what you want to play against, depending on your meta. I'll show you guys mine. It's a pretty generic one, but again, you guys could just kind of play what you guys want. It's unsleeved because like every pack of sleeves comes with 60, so there's not enough for this. There's not enough for the.
Can't afford another
side.
pack.
Well, that's it. 3 acid golems.
3 acid golems?
I mean, lava golems. Damn, man. 3 evenly matches. This is obviously for the mirror match, essentially against like, Sky Strikers. The lava golem is here for all the Despia matchups, because you have so many ways to just deal with the board. And then 3 solemn judgments. When you go first, you have to be able to protect all the floodgates. 3 twin twisters, and then the only hand trap you play, because essentially it just wins you the matchup that you kind of like. I wouldn't say fear, but it's kind of like one of the harder matchups. What's it called? 3 token collectors. So this essentially is just for like the mirror match, because a lot of like Synchro Eldlich going around, but also obviously against like Sword, so you just kind of ought to win that matchup. You just want a card that's just really good against them. So. Yeah. And that's it for the deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the Monarch deck profile. The Monarch deck, that's the thing's like a nuts. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Sponsored by Turtle Chips. Yeah, peace out, guys.